Good afternoon, everyone. Simon here from careermap.co.uk, and welcome to our 5th live webinar today for National Apprenticeship Week 2021. Today we're joined by the team from Severn Trent Water. The team will be speaking today about the exciting apprenticeship opportunities and how you can potentially join them. Before we begin, if you look to the right of the presentation screen, you'll see a chat facility. We are live, so ask questions at any time. Feel free to make comments and ask questions about the presentation, and there'll be time at the end for a full Q&A session. So many thanks for joining us today, guys. Before we begin the presentation, could you introduce yourselves and give us a little bit of an overview of your roles within Severn Trent Water?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Darren Page. I work within the new talent team, predominantly focusing efforts on our attraction and selection processes. I'll be taking you through the slide deck in a few moments.
Hi everyone, my name is Hannah Darby and I'm a leakage business leader at Severn Trent.
Hello everyone, my name is Teagan Williams and I'm the apprentice solicitor at Severn Trent.
Hi everyone, I'm Theresa Campbell. I'm scheduling manager at Severn Trent.
Okay, we'll make a start then. Today is about you, and as you can see from the way that we promoted this activity, we've called it Apprenticeships for the Girls in the Water Industry. That's not just the case, and we hope there's lots of sort of males that are online this afternoon as well, joining us to find out a little bit more. What is fair to say is that we're sort of looking to change perceptions, and we have a very broad range of career options available, and we believe we want to inspire both boys and girls into the opportunities that we have as an organisation. So to talk you through a little bit about what we're going to do within the next 58 minutes. So by 5 p.m. We want you to sort of understand more about who we are, our purpose and values, what that means to us and what it would mean to you as a future candidate, what our 5-year plan is. So Severn Trent are one of 11 water companies within England and Wales. We all report into the regulator Ofwat, and we'll all have targets in which we have to meet. So there's 5-year plans that all of the water companies will be working towards, and I'll talk you through a little bit about that. Also external recognition. So there's just a few examples there that are things that are really important to us and that are worth sharing with you as you sort of consider your options and the kind of organisation that you want to sort of join following your exams, whether that's GCSE, A-level, and you know, with what you decide to do. Then it's really over to the stars of the show. So a number of females within the business are going to share their experiences. So delighted that Hannah will sort of talk about leakage in more detail. So she's an operations business lead, and Teagan, who's a current solicitor apprentice, completing the level 7 program. And then delighted that Theresa, who is a scheduling manager within our developer services area of business, will tell you about her experiences within Severn Trent. And it is really an opportunity for you to learn more about what some of the great things that our people do in different environments and the culture that we have, and hopefully inspire you to find out more. Then I'll sort of finish off and talk about our 2021 apprenticeship programme routes and the key dates in which you need to know about and what that selection process is. So what are the next steps that you need to take? So your aims for this session, as mentioned in the advertising, you know, in terms of what we would cover in the agenda there, this next 50 minutes or so, 55 minutes is for you. We want you to go away at 5 o'clock, having sort of spent an hour with us online and knowing and understanding more about what you really want to know. So there is the sort of chat facility on the right hand side of your screen. Simon mentioned about asking questions as we go through this session, but if there is anything specific that you wish to know, then do use that chat facility now, okay? And then we'll come back to that. But it's really important at Severn Trent when we hold meetings together internally that we have expectations. So that's really what your expectations for this next 50 minutes or so. Okay. So moving on, who we are. Severn Trent, as I mentioned, are one of 11 water and waste companies within England and Wales. There are additional smaller water companies across that geographical area, sorry. And Severn Trent is a huge, we have a huge area within the Severn Trent region, stretching from the northeast in North Lincolnshire to the southwest towards Gloucestershire. And we provide the good stuff, clean water, and we take away the wastewater and treat that for around 8 million customers within that geographical area. In addition, we have a Welsh part of the business pronounced Havern Dyfrdwy. Now, this slide here encapsulates what we do as an organisation. So you all go to the taps in the mornings, in the evenings, and enjoy that clean water, but it's a very complex process that sort of is in place to make sure that you're able to enjoy it. So sort of reverting back to maybe what you saw in guides in junior school with what the sort of water cycle looks like, then we'll take that raw water and then we shall clean that and distribute it across our network for customers to enjoy. And then after that water is used, we'll collect the wastewater, we'll put it through a process, and then we'll recycle it and put it back into the environment in a safe way. That's very, very sort of high level summary of what we do, what our core sort of purpose is, and that's to provide one of life's essentials. Underneath that, in the green area, what's really important to Severn Trent is from a sustainability perspective, is renewable energy production. And so we have set in place a number of targets over the next sort of 5-year period, which are going to make us a more a greener business. So to start off with, then certainly by 2025, all of the energy needs that our assets have, and when I say assets, that's to run operationally our business, will come from renewable energy sources. And that's a huge achievement. Back in 2016, we were around 28%. So within less than 10 years, that'll be fully carbon neutral business. And by that, what we mean is that all of the vehicles that you will see out in your communities, then certainly at the moment, they're sort of not green vehicles, but they will be. So operationally, that is going to have a massive impact on our customers and the environment as well. So from my side of things, when I'm working with candidates, then providing candidates with the opportunity to avoid travel, and for our interviewers not to travel, is also part of that. So it's sort of one of the sort of on the green agenda for us. So our values, this is really important to Severn Trent, and all of the employees will be living and breathing those splashes that are around the outside. But in the middle there, you can see that Severn Trent, our purpose is to take care of one of life's essentials. That is, in a nutshell, what we do as an organisation. And our people around the sort of outside there will display all of those values within their day-to-day work. As you can see there, having courage, taking pride, embracing that curiosity, and then showing care as well. So having courage within the workplace, not everything is going to go 100% to plan every single time. And sometimes that means that you take yourself out your comfort zone and you have to display that little bit of courage maybe that you need to get to the resolution that you need. Taking pride as well. Certainly this jumps out to me. I've worked at Severn Trent for just coming up towards 5 years, and people are incredibly passionate about what they do and the service they provide, and the end sort of thinking of the end user and the customer. And that's hugely important. It enables us to sort of function as we need to and improve all of the time. So taking pride is really sort of high priority. Embracing curiosity. Now, as young people who are considering their career options, then this is something that really you should be excelling in anyway, and wanting to learn and embrace that curiosity to be able to do what you want to do. That's why you're here this afternoon. but our people will do this on a daily basis within their roles as well. And also showing care on the right-hand side there. I mentioned about 8 million customers that we have within the Severn Trent region. And, you know, whatever role that you're in within Severn Trent, you are showing care. And what you do, no matter what sort of part of that sort of larger sort of picture as an organisation that we are, you will be demonstrating care. And we demonstrate care to our colleagues as well. So we sort of make sure collaboratively that we're sort of all sort of heading in the right direction, and we're supporting each other as well. And that enables us to be more productive and enables us to sort of complete each day the best that we can, knowing that we've got the support of our colleagues. So that's showing care from an internal perspective and external perspective. So I mentioned our 5-year plan, and this is within I mentioned Ofwat, who are our regulator. So we, or the water industry, works in 5-year periods. And what you've got in front of you there is a number of different areas that Severn Trent would have committed to, and all other water companies would have committed to in terms of performance. So Ofwat, as a regulator, look after the consumer. So they'll look after customers in terms of the service that they would receive from water and waste companies. And as we just go through each of those different rows there, you can see that it's saying more help to those that need it most. We are an organisation with a social purpose, and that is to support our communities. Therefore, Severn Trent have set up numerous initiatives which enables those that are most vulnerable within our communities and provide support to them, to help customers pay their sort of water and waste bills. Improving our service, and I mentioned, and Hannah's introduced herself a moment ago, but she'll talk about leakage. You can see that 15% number there on the right hand side. So that is not leakage as in bursts in the road. That's unaccounted for water within our network that Severn Trent and other water companies would lose. And so there's a big push on how we can reduce that leakage, and Hannah will talk more about that later. In addition, underneath, improving our environment. So, you know, there's a number there of 2,100, and that's the kilometres in rivers across the Severn Trent region that will be making more environmentally friendly. And sort of we shall also, from 17%, this will reduce pollution by 17% as well. And then at the bottom there, excuse me, at the bottom there, you can see a number of 10 million. Now, I'll come on to that in a few moments' time, but Severn Trent have invested £10 million within a learning facility, a purpose-built facility just outside of Coventry that is going to make sure that for future generations, not just over the next few years, that our people are sort of best in class when it comes to the technical learnings that they need to support the communities with the work that they do. So that's reassuring for our customers to know that there's such a huge investment in learning, and I'll come on to that in a short while. I've spoken about the green energy vehicles, and vehicles there as well. And also 1% of our profits are put into community funds as well. Okay. I just saw a message from Tanya about marketing apprenticeships. We do have an opportunity for level 4, which we'll come on to later. Some external recognition, and this is important for those of you that you know, are considering an apprenticeship. So Severn Trent have for a number of years qualified, I suppose, through our own individuals' feedback as a top company to work for through surveys and rankings that are coordinated by the Job Crowd. And we're very proud to sort of continue to be in that in those rankings. In addition to that, we work with different social enterprises across our communities. The one on the left-hand side is an organisation which is the BAME Apprenticeship Alliance. And in terms of performance on programme, we've had individuals over the last 2 or 3 years, in fact, that have gone on to be recognised for outstanding achievement within the BAME Apprenticeship Awards. Most recently, there's the Gender Diversity Index survey that was announced, and Severn Trent have been ranked particularly high in there. It's a global index, so there was a lot of noise internally about that last week, and that's hugely important. Equality is hugely important at Severn Trent, as is social mobility. So for the last 3 years, or since the inaugural employer index survey, Severn Trent have, for the last couple of years, maintained a top 10 position at those top 75 employers. And so providing opportunity for people across all of our communities, no matter what background people are from, is hugely important to us. Okay, I'm now going to hand over to Hannah, who's going to provide a few details about her experiences. Over to you, Hannah.
Hi everyone. So this year we're taking on assistant water network technicians. They are in place to help a water network technician, and they look after a patch of DMAs or district metered areas. So if you imagine in leakage, it's broken up, Severn Trent is broken up into lots of different patches, and a water network technician is responsible for each of those patches. So they're responsible for finding leakage, and we've got some really tough leakage targets. So we need to reduce leakage by 15% up to 2025 and reduce it by 50% by 2045, so some really tough targets. They're also responsible for finding unaccounted for water, what Darren mentioned earlier. This is really problem solving, trying to find out where the water's going. Is it being used illegally? Is it being used by a large factory that we don't know about? Is it being used by a laundry or a car wash? Lots of different reasons trying to find unaccounted for water. So ideal skills required for an assistant water network technician. You need to be good at problem solving, trying to work out where that water's going, or try and find the leakage alarm when it comes in. You need to be someone that thinks outside the box. We've got lots of new technology to try and find tricky leaks and find them quicker, and be curious to try some of these new things. And also be determined that we can have some tricky leaks we've got to find. And you might enjoy working outside. So each apprentice has a mentor, and they get picked up in the morning by their mentor and spend their day out and about in their van. So most of the learning is in the field. About 80% of the time is outside in the field and 20% in the classroom. And you'll learn all about leakage detection. So that might be how to keep safe. You might learn about water distribution, wastewater network. You might learn about water quality, sampling and testing, and all about the different pipes and how we find leaks. So we've got a really diverse team in leakage. Lots of women. I've put lots of pictures of them on my slide. And they participate in lots of different roles. We've got water network technicians, demand technicians. They use the data to try and analyse where we can go and find the leaks. We've got assistant demand techs, and they support the production team. We've also got leakage team managers, customer leak support. They support people or customers who have a burst on their property, and also the leakage assurance team, and they put together all our leakage reporting on our calculations for Ofwat. So a little bit about me. I've worked at Severn Trent for 10 years now, and it was probably about 10 years ago I was in a similar situation to some of you. I'd just finished university and I wasn't quite sure what to do with my career. And someone said to me, "Oh, there's a job going at Severn Trent." And I thought to myself, why do I want to go and do that? But anyway, I turned up for the interview, and little did I know what Severn Trent was all about. So I've worked at Severn Trent for 10 years now in lots of different roles. I worked in network optimization, how to optimize the network. I worked as a demand tech, working out where the leakages was. I've been a leakage team manager. I've worked on projects, and I'm currently in a development role as a leakage business lead. So there's lots of training and support available for you at Severn Trent. Loads of help online and through our academy. You have an option to have a mentor, or I've been a mentor to different people, helping and supporting them through their career journey. There's loads of opportunity and loads of time to make a choice. There's been lots of time in my career that I've been like, oh, shall I go and do this, or shall I try that? So definitely lots of different avenues to go down. But I do love working in leakage. It feels like we're one big family at Severn Trent, and it's a great team. Any questions, Darren?
Yeah, I was going to ask actually, Hannah, what would you say are the key skills that an apprentice is going to develop in that 2 years that they're on programme?
They'll learn all about leakage detection. and different techniques for use of finding links. We've got lots of new technology that are coming in all the time, so it's about using some of those.
Okay. Okay.
Lots of stuff about water distribution and the wastewater network. Our apprentices who started last year were straight onto their patch on day one, finding links in their first week really quick.
And I think from it's the water process technician apprenticeship that apprentices will go on to complete. That's standards. How's that structured, Hannah?
So there's 20% learning in the classroom and then 80% in the field. So once a month they spend a week in college, going through, well, it will be the academy once it's opened, doing all the learning, and then they have to provide evidence of it when they're out in the field.
Okay, thank you. And I think what do you love most about the operational world, I suppose, is my final question.
Oh, tricky question. I love working in ops because I really like being hands-on. I love like quite a quick pace, and we can, although we're a proactive team trying to find leakage proactively, it can be quite reactive, and especially when we have leakage alarms going. It's a really fast-paced and great environment to work in.
Okay, thank you very much. There are additional sort of, if you want to type in your questions, should you wish to ask them on there, then please do. And then Hannah, I think you should have the capability as well of or the facility to be able to respond to them also.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Hannah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of ask Theresa to speak first, because Teagan unfortunately has been locked out of the webinar, so we're just working on that to get her back. Is that okay, Theresa, for you to talk about your experiences at Severn Trent?
Yes, that's absolutely fine.
Thank you. Over to you. I'll just go on to mute.
Thank you, Darren. So hi again, everyone. I'm Theresa. I'm not here to talk to you today necessarily from an apprentice route, although I have been with Severn Trent for 5 years now. I've actually been working in this industry for over 16 years. So it's been a little while since I left school. I started as a scheduler about 5 years ago, and I was promoted to scheduling manager within a couple of years. And the department that I actually work for is known as Developer Services, and it forms part of the Customer, Retail and Technology Directorate within the organisation. And the main aim of my department is to provide water to new housing developments, and that includes your public, small private housing schemes, commercial and government premises, all onto the Severn Trent water network. This also includes laying new water mains and upgrading old ones, involving sometimes major engineering works. Now, the team I'm responsible for, they organise and they coordinate those activities, and we work hand in hand with well-known housing developers, just to name a few, such as Taylor Wimpey, Persimmon Homes, and all in aid to basically provide water to these new properties. Now, my job is, of course, predominantly office-based, but I never miss an opportunity to get out and see our operatives in action. The picture you see here, it was on a site in Market Drayton just last year, during the first lockdown, where we were required to upgrade a series of existing properties onto a new main. Now, the job was to be undertaken using minimal excavation as possible, and by using something called a directional drilling rig. And what normally happens when our teams go out is they have to excavate, but they have to be conscious of potential risks underground, and that can be in the form of electricity and gas services. And I personally couldn't fathom how a drill could do that job, but it did, and it did it in less than half the time. And the roads were closed for less than 3 weeks in the areas the drill could actually be used, and that eased disruption to residents and road users. But the other thing that I really enjoy, in addition to my day job, I'm also involved with 2 other projects. It's actually this variety that I love the most, because I get to mix things up as much as possible. And what you find working here at Severn Trent, there's just no shortage of options by which to do that, as Darren's alluded to earlier. You'll have seen on the advert that Severn Trent are committed to improving diversity, of course within gender, but also in other areas too, such as sexuality and ethnicity. And both myself and Teagan belong to a group working on the latter. And I was asked out of that group to be a reverse mentor to our CEO. And of course, a great opportunity to bring about further inclusion from the very top. Now, if you'd have told me, a bit like Hannah, that I would be doing this when I was 16 years old, to be honest, I'd have probably given you a concerned look, because I wanted to be a TV presenter, and that's why I chose to do media degree, of course. But the truth is, I actually had no clue back then what I really wanted to do. I'd done work experience placement at Marks and Spencer's, which I didn't like very much. And my career's advice looked like 3 sheets of A4 paper, and a closed door, because I never actually saw my careers advisor. I couldn't tell you what her name was or what she looked like. But of all the different jobs which appeared on these printouts, a plumber and an office manager were probably the closest to a job in the water industry that I can recall. And to be honest, I don't think there was any recognition of the water or energy sector back then. It wasn't really a thing. I don't know about many of you, but I was always told I must go to university, get a degree, or you won't earn any real money. But the thing is, if you don't know what you want and you make that commitment and pick a course that you maybe think you might like, well, the real world just doesn't hand you a check to say, well done. I actually realise now that you need to get in amongst the world, figure out what you like and what you don't like. And equally, just be prepared for that to change as well. You shouldn't ever fear it. Just embrace it, go with it. And if you don't like it, you can always do something else. So that's just really my advice to you, and would have been to myself. Just don't be afraid to push yourself into environments that maybe you first thought of as not for you. Just like this industry, just like me and Hannah, I never thought about this industry as being one for us, but we've been here and still are here more than 10 years later. So you might find you like it. Thank you.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Theresa. I think just for the benefit of those that are online, what does scheduling actually do? What do you mean by scheduling?
So that would have been a question I had as well. But yes, scheduling activities, it's quite complex. So you might assume it to be an admin role as such, which a lot of people tend to think it is, but it does involve a lot of coordination with the operational teams. It also, in my case, involves that with our housing developers. It also involves coordination with the highways, because obviously, as you see, when you go about your day to day, there are temporary traffic lights and excavations and diggers all activated or being carried out in the road. We have to do all of that. We've got to arrange all of that, and sometimes have to get involved in plan hire support for our ops teams. And you're never expected to know all of that in the first go, but because it's considered a dark art, it's one of those things that you just learn on the job, but you just realise what gets involved, and you just learn new skills as well in the process.
And if I was just to ask you, just before we hand over to Teagan, how would you describe the culture at Severn Trent, Theresa?
First word that comes into my mind is family. It's
Okay.
there's so many characters in that you meet all over the organisation, and you meet friends for life. There are people that meet their partners here, for example, but you meet friends for life, and it's probably why a lot of people don't want to leave. They recommend friends and family to come and work for the company because there's always something going on, something for you to be involved in, and it isn't necessarily always about work either. There's a lot. It's a very community based or thought process that goes into it. And I think, if I'm honest, you know, Darren, this last year everybody's probably felt that we've lost that because of having to work from home because of the pandemic. And those opportunities where we get to go on away days and be together and so on aren't there at the moment, and that's probably one of the major things that I love about working here as well.
But I'd like to think that that there's still a lot of support getting, you know, remotely in your teams. I know that ours are, you know, with regular check-ins and well-being sessions, and your teams are similar, I take it.
We try and create that virtual setting with the Zoom calls and your karaoke's and your nights. We try to do that all year round, and it does work. It does work. So we do what we can.
Excellent. Well, thank you ever so much for sharing your experiences today.
No problem at all. Thank you.
And then let's just, Teagan, welcome back. Delighted that you got back into the webinar okay. Can you see the slide in front of you?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Lovely. I'll hand over to yourself then.
So hi everybody, I'm Teagan. I'm the apprentice solicitor at Severn Trent. I've been at Severn Trent for around 18 months now, and I'm on a 5.5-year apprenticeship. So I came straight out of sixth form because I knew I didn't want to go to university, and I'd already felt like I'd been in full-time education for a while, and I really, really wanted to change. So I found the Severn Trent opportunity online and I applied. I had a few online assessments and then I went to an assessment centre, and I saw it as a really amazing opportunity because the kind of experience that I gain on the job in comparison to my counterparts that have gone to uni is massive, and on top of that it allows me to earn while I'm learning. So I've been able to do things that I never really would have been able to do if I'd gone to university. You know, I've been able to pass my driving test, and it's really, really given me huge opportunities that I wouldn't have had if I'd gone down the traditional route. It was a big jump from sixth form because I'd never ever worked in an office environment before. Writing emails, how to dress, having the kind of responsibility that I have. It was a big jump, but you have a lot of support from HR and my uni tutors and my team and my line managers. So you've always got a big support bubble around you, and everybody is really, really focused on your progression. So some tips that I would have if you were to apply or to work at Severn Trent, first of all, would to be yourself. Talk about the extracurricular things that you've achieved, talk about your home life, talk about your family, because as Theresas said, it is really family orientated at Severn Trent and people do genuinely care about you. Secondly would be to ask questions. If you're ever unsure, people are always more than happy to help you. So if you're ever unsure about something, you're always better off to ask. Thirdly would be to work hard. A good work ethic really goes a long way at Severn Trent, and hard work is unbeaten. And lastly, I would say to research Severn Trent before applying, have a look at what they offer, which I suppose is what you've all done by being here today. And I just really can't credit the apprenticeship system enough. It is a really, really great opportunity, and I look forward to what the next 3 years bring me. Skills wise, I would say self-management and time management are probably two of the biggest skills that you would need, because you're juggling your studies, you're juggling work, and also having a social life. And once you work out what works for you and you've got that balance, then everything will go really, really well. And it's also having the willingness to learn. Severn Trent is such a huge company, and every day I'm learning more about the business, learning more about my own particular area. So having that willingness to learn and to take on things that are outside of your comfort zone. And lastly would be teamwork. So you've got to be able to have the balance of being able to work in a team and collaborate on projects, but also be able to have the independence to work on tasks on your own. So I would say those are probably the core skills that you would need to work at Severn Trent. So whatever you all go on to do, I really do wish you good luck.
That's fantastic, Teagan. Thank you so much. I think there was one question, if I put that, it sort of, I suppose, how did it feel for you attending? I know that the circumstances are different because of COVID and the pandemic, but how did it feel to you going to an assessment centre? What did that feel like in terms of Severn Trent? What was the feel that you got? You know,
so I would say, kind of on the morning, I was really nervous, and the whole drive there, I was really nervous. And then once I got there, I think it was you actually that greeted me, and straight away, you know, you kind of begin to relax and you start to realise that these people aren't here looking at you critically. They want to help you and they want to see you do well. And any questions that I had on the day and once I went home, you know, Darren was always a text away for me to be able to ask him for advice, and it was a really smooth application process.
That's good. I think is the reason why I ask that is because it can be very daunting for young people who might not have had a formal interview previously. And so, you know, be it Severn Trent, be it another water company, maybe, if you're sort of dialing in from and want to work locally, if you're in a different region. But you will find that employers want to support you, and it's really important. So you are getting to that final stage of any selection process on merit. And so it's a sort of, and this is kind of words I might have said to yourself, Teagan, in that reception area. You know, it's kind of a pat on the back. You know, so you're there on merit, and that should give you confidence. Okay, that's a really insightful few moments or few minutes that you've given us, Teagan. Thank you so much for giving it your time. How many years left is it of the level 7 that you've got?
So I've got 4 left.
Okay, and then sort of fully qualified, you know, solicitor at the end of that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, just going into the sort of next section now, and I wanted to just highlight the training facility that I mentioned in the earlier slides. So Severn Trent have invested around £10 million in this purpose-built facility, and really it's for, as I said, making sure that our people are trained to the right levels. If it's a technical role that they're in, that they're always sort of continuously improving new technologies, innovation. And, you know, we're using innovative ways as well in which we're able to train our own people up. And those there across the bottom are the different learning streams that we have that will be within the syllabus and the learning facility down in Finham in Coventry. So we'll have staff and new joiners from an operational world, sort of learning the tricks of the trade and sort of how to be competent within their role. But also, as we look at our internal talent pipeline, then from a leadership and management perspective, with the processes that we have in place, so that could be future apprentices further down the line, and sort of talent spotting our own potential to make sure that they are getting the right, or that individuals are having the right training provided to them to succeed in post, wherever that may be within the business. From a professional development and business skills perspective, then people might complete a level 3 apprenticeship to start with and then want to pursue something else. So we have that professional development stream that will allow that sort of, I suppose, continual learning and going on to complete other professional qualifications. So a good example of that is people that would have completed an operational technician's role, for example, and a level 3, and completed that over sort of a 3-year period, and then have gone on to complete a part-time degree and have that supported by Severn Trent. And that's hugely important. It's not just learning up until the end of the apprenticeship. There will be routes available to you to continue that development, and through the support of your line manager and the business area that you're working in, then these conversations and about performance and potential will take place regularly every quarter to make sure that you're on track with where we'd like you to be. So from an engineering perspective, Severn Trent around 18 months ago, we used to work with a lot of contractors, with a lot of the design work that was taking place within the assets and the framework that we have across the region. And we brought all of that in-house, and that actually saves our customers and money, and that's a good thing. So with that, bringing an in-house design engineering team into the business means that there's new skills or continual development of skills that we do need to keep up with. So they've got their own specific learning stream available to them. And customer, I'm sure if there's parents on the call this afternoon and responsible, or those that are responsible for paying water and wastewater bills, then the customer experience is really important. And we have to provide our own people the right training, so that it was, depending on the circumstances that those individuals are in, then they're able to deal with any queries that they may come their way. So there's a lot of virtual learning that will take place at this facility as well, where we're able to simulate the circumstances that we could be facing, and that's both in not just customer but also the operational world. So we've got leakage detection VR kits, for example, that can help. That's sort of part of Hannah's world, and introduce to world of leakage there. Chemical dosing, which you can imagine is quite a dangerous task. Then we sort of have a lot of those that virtual learning in place to be able to make sure that our people are trained to the correct standard. Okay, so this slide is probably a really important one, for everybody that's on the call, probably a really important one that you've been looking forward to. So where do our apprenticeships sit? You might not have been on the Severn Trent website yet, but we've broken them down here into different types, really. So there's business and administrative. We've got engineering and manufacturing, which is where our operational roles sit. We also have quite a unique agriculture advisor apprenticeship within the agriculture environment world. And then we have technology, and then we also have the legal business or sort of finance and accounting. So you can see some numbers there, which start at level 3, go to level 4, level 5, and level 6. So our operational roles, where you can see the water process technician, we have operators on level 3, and we also have our maintenance techs. So it's the maintenance techs and the leakage roles that are available in 2021, and we have roles across the entire Severn Trent region within these types of apprenticeship, and those are level 3. So there, for those of you that might be completing GCSEs this year, then you would be eligible to apply, and you would be able to include expected grades that you would hope that you're sort of going to be achieving. Now, those are kind of equivalent. The level 3 is equivalent of 2 A levels, and as you can see, we also have our assistant accountant apprenticeship, which starts at level 3. And the reason that starts at level 3 is because the learning is very different to a what you would call a kind of standard classroom learning that you might be used to at school. So that combination of experience that you get in the workplace, along with the combination of online learning, and then I suppose it's all online learning at the moment, but college as well. It's meant that with the examinations that you're taking, we'll ask people to complete level 3 first of all, before going on to complete level 4 as within the assistant sort of accountant, and that's the AAT qualification. Now, as you can see there with the business and administrative roles, we've got level 4s, we've got level 5s, we do have level 3 with the safety, health, environment technician. So that's an analyst position that would be eligible if you are at GCSE level. But the level 4s is equivalent to a foundation year degree, and then level 5s and level 6s would be sort of going upwards to that undergraduate degree level. So the project manager role, and we have 2 different types. We have one within our Operations Services UK, and we also have one within what we would call group transformation. That is otherwise known as to you and I strategy. So within our retail sort of part of the business, they'll sort of be responsible for project managing various different sort of projects that are helping us within the world of retail. In addition, we have a marketing executive role, which is at level 4 as well, and that is within our operating OS UK part of the business. And we have a commercial procurement and supply, so that is a supply contracts analyst as well, and that's also level 4. To the right hand side with technology, we have a project management practice, technology apprentices, and that's a level 6 degree apprentice. And then the agricultural professional advisor, which is in bioresources, and that's level 6 as well. Now, the important thing is that when you go onto the website and you look at these programs, then for the utilities and engineering technician, the maintenance techs, then descriptions of the areas of the business that you'll be working in are included on there. But you will also, I'm sure, be sort of wanting to try and match yourself up location-wise. So location details are included there as well. So what does that timeline look like? Well, for 2021, we opened up our vacancies last month, and we'll be closing them on the 21st of March. So between now and then, there is not only time, I would encourage you to complete your applications as soon as you can. There is some online learning, online assessments, which I'll come on to. Before then, at the 29th of March, what we'll be doing is reviewing candidates that have successfully completed those online stages before inviting into final stage interviews that will take place throughout April. They're likely to be virtual assessments, though for those individuals that might prefer face-to-face, that could be that they don't have technology available or just would prefer to see us face-to-face, then we will be able to arrange that also. And then with following that, offers will be made in May, and we'll go through onboarding, and then we'll be holding virtual welcome events, maybe face-to-face, we don't know, but certainly holding welcome events for those that will be joining us in August, where there'll be inductions for apprentices before then going to college. And then you can see from that slide as well that our graduates and undergraduates start in September. I just wanted to point out one thing actually from a college perspective, and that is for the operational roles, for the maintenance technicians. If you are applying for the maintenance tech role, then you're going to be at college full-time for the first year. If you're applying for the leakage roles, then you're going to be at college 1 day a week, and you'll sort of be looked after by your mentors during that 2 years. Any operation technicians role that we have that will be in college full-time for a shorter period. The other roles that we have are likely to be, or not likely to be, they will be that sort of blended sort of learning 80% of the time, and then college 1 day a week. But I just wanted to point that out for the maintenance techs. So what does the assessment look like? Then we've got 3 things really that we need you to do. That first one is to complete the application form. And that may sound daunting. It's not a case of just submitting a covering letter and a CV. We are asking you to provide a little bit of information about you. And there are some key questions in there that we think are really important. And I'd like to think they're important to you as well. And you want to be able to share details with us as to the reasons why you're pursuing an apprenticeship program at Severn Trent. But also, with so many opportunities available, we'd like you to just sort of highlight reasons why you're pursuing a particular program. The more detail that you can provide us, the better. That's not kind of a prerequisite. Concise writing where it's clear and you're getting your points across is really important. But do sort of think about reasons why you're choosing a particular program and the research that you've done, so you can highlight that. Teagan encouraged everybody earlier, do that research and articulate it in that application. From an online assessment perspective, there's lots of video guidance that we have for you that introduces you to the values that we have as an organisation. And there's a lot of guidance sort of boxes and that you'll see before you press start, so you know exactly what you need to do. But you will be introduced to the world of leakage, you will be introduced to the world of bioresources, and you will also be introduced to the world of green power as well. So there's a renewables sort of sustainability elements that are included in the exercises, and that's based on feedback from I suppose, from internal stakeholders, and what really we should be looking for, and therefore we thought it was a great sort of story to kind of share. So even though those are the areas that you look at, that's across any program that you'd be completing those exercises. They're not technical questions. You'll just be completing a series of exercises where you're answering questions authentically as to how you would approach those specific tasks. Okay, so the final stage will be an interview and presentation, and that'll be a strengths-based interview. And again, we'll provide you with information beforehand. In between, we'll provide you with regular candidate communications that can allow you to do that little bit of passive research. We'll be drip feeding you some really interesting news stories, what's important at Severn Trent. So in the run up to the interview, you're absorbing more information. And then on the day, there will be a strengths-based interview. And then there'll also be a presentation that we'll ask you to complete as well. And we'll provide that to you a couple of days before. So in the run up to your interview with us, then there will be that candidate care call to make sure that you're confident and you've got the guidance that you need. We can't give you all the answers, but what we can do is make sure that you're ready. So I think if you're demonstrating those values that we have, such as the courage and curiosity and pride, and that's certainly about you, and sort of demonstrating that drive and the why you want to join, then I think if you've got those sort of things and they've got those areas of I suppose demonstrate your own personal values, then I think that's a massive help. Okay, so just to finish off, really, what we offer, then as an apprentice, although it was virtual this year, there was still an induction event for our joiners. And that was split by program based on the circumstances and not being able to get everybody online at the same time. But there will be those induction events that will take place to introduce you to Severn Trent, to introduce you to your peers, line managers, with the sort of joiners events as well. You will also get a mentor, and those they're not going to be provided immediately. That is depending on the program that you're on. Some of the programs will provide a mentor. Others, they'll be matched once you've settled into the business. But what you can all expect is a personal development plan that's helping you, I suppose, reach those objectives in your day job, outside of the learning that you're going to be completing whilst on program. And in addition to that program that you're completing, there will be some bespoke training that allows you as individuals to sort of, I suppose, it's develop personally, and also within the Severn Trent business, so you're well looked after. Okay, so that's the end of our session this afternoon. I would like to thank everybody for joining us. I know that Simon, you had a couple of questions, was it, or was there anything that came through?
Yeah, so thanks for that, guys. Really great session. Hope that gives everyone a better understanding of what Severn Trent has to offer. Yeah, but unfortunately, sort of halfway through the presentation, the chat facility and the questions sort of ground to a halt, unfortunately. So apologies if your question hasn't come through. Darren, you mentioned if people do have questions.
Yes, thank you, Simon. Yeah, thank you for picking that. I knew there'd be something. So if there are specific questions following today that that you would like to ask, there's a lot of information on the website. So severntrent.com/careers, and then you'll find across the toolbar there the apprenticeship drop-down menu. In addition to that, if there is a specific question relating to your circumstances and an apprenticeship program that you're going to apply for, then our email address is potential. So that's potential@severntrent.co.uk. Okay. And then over the last few weeks, there has been a lot of content that has been created by our own people on apprenticeship programs. We're editing one that Hannah's provided to us very recently, which is a day in the life of a leakage technician. But there's a lot of content that's been developed to help you understand a little bit more. And you can just go on to at Severn Trent Life on Twitter or Facebook to be able to view those videos of our own people. There'll be peers of Teagan on there as well, and they'll talk about their experiences. And I think in addition to today, you know, just viewing those in your own time, it's a really important decision that you're making, and I hope that parents or guardians are supporting you as well, because of you know, it's deciding on what route that you're going to take. So that takes time. It's not something that you can do in 5 minutes. And we have sort of increased the amount of content that is available so that you can get a feel for the kind of culture and organisation and the kind of people that we have working at Severn Trent too. So I hope that is of help. Potential at severntrent.co.uk.
All right, well, I'll just run through some of the questions that we did managed to get asked, and I'll start with Jason. So I know you talked about sort of renewable energy and stuff at the beginning, Darren.
Yeah.
He was just asking, do you offer apprenticeships?
Yeah, there are. When we say renewables, it's a very broad area, but within our bioresources team, then what our bioresources team do, the byproducts from waste, the byproduct of waste, it is a product called sludge. So it's cake, and it has a market value within the agricultural industry. And what our bioresources team do is they'll have processes in place that allow us through crops that we have at our own farms to be able to sort of you know, through digesters, and to be able to sort of create that power, that green power that is going to be sort of used on the grid, or if it's a byproduct, to be able to sell to the agricultural industry. So the apprenticeships that we do have are within bioresources, and we have maintenance technicians available within that area of the business, and the agricultural advisor, which is the level 6 farming liaison apprentice, that's within the renewables area as well.
Okay. Any plans to sort of grow the renewable side?
Well, I think if we look at you know, apprenticeships, that they are growing within this area. So last year, the last 2 years, in fact, the main areas of the main types of apprenticeships that we had within bioresources were actually tanker drivers. So we had some level 2 apprenticeships in 2019 and 2020, but we've got specialists. We've got combined heat and power maintenance technician apprenticeships, along with electrical and instrumentation, control and automation. So those are within a renewables area. So it's not water, it's the wastewater side of the business. So it's still from an engineering sort of perspective, or an engineering sort of route that you're going down, but you would be able to specialize certainly once those utilities engineering technician apprenticeship programs are completed.
Thanks for that. I see you've answered quite a few of the questions on there anyway. So there's just
yes, I have. Yeah, I've tried to answer some as other speakers where. So do you know, for those that may not have seen it, do you do degree apprenticeships? We do. There's a number of level 6 routes there. So you've got the project management route. You have within technology, but also within group transformation as well as a project manager. We also have the level 5 HR apprenticeships on top of that. So there's a wide range available, and then the farming liaison as well. So design engineering, Mosa, I responded to you individually, but the engineering degree apprenticeships for 2021, we're sort of not taking any into that area at present. And the reason for that is that we're just doing a little bit of a review internally in terms of making sure that we're setting those programs up so that for the, you know, to ensure future success. So rather than just bring people in and then get people to do those degree apprenticeships, then it's okay if we're working towards further down the line getting chartered status, let's kind of just reset the dial a little bit with what's actually going to be included, rather than just bringing people in, then going to university. So I hope that sort of answers the reasons why we're not, but we're not for 2021 at present. Marketing apprenticeships, Tanya, I think I responded to you. So there is the level 4 apprenticeship program for yourself. And then I think that might be about it. Any roles in Herefordshire? That's a really good question, Julia. I suppose our Worcestershire and Gloucestershire area, WOGLO as we would call it internally, does have leakage roles, so the level 3 that would sort of cover that sort of part of the world.
Sorry, Darren. I was just going to say there was a lady, I think, from a school.
Yeah, Mrs. Harrison.
Yeah. Do you offer?
Yeah, if you'd like, Mrs. Harrison, if you'd like to just drop the potential inbox a line. I have a colleague that looks after our schools and work experience, or who is a schools and work experience lead. So we have been doing some virtual work experience since the pandemic, or since last summer, really, and number of activities taking place this week and throughout March, etc. And it'd be interesting to understand where your school is and what kind of things that you're looking for, because we have a suite of activities that we might be able to support you with.
Okay. Do you want me to run through these, or do you want to answer them, Darren, the questions?
No, I think it's I'm up as far as Julia, and
there's another one from Julia saying, do you get involved in town planning? Is there any apprenticeships for this?
That's probably one. I'm not sure if the developer services team do, Theresa, if there's anything there, but from my knowledge, town planning, I think in terms of what the networks will, we do sort of have colleagues that will work with external organizations in, what the future looks like.
Yeah, it's when we think, when I think of town planning, I think of infrastructure within the towns, the roads and the traffic, how you direct traffic and so on. We support them in terms of operations and in only water, really. So in developer services. So it's more to do with providing water to any of those particular infrastructure that comes up in those areas. So, for example, in Wolverhampton, where I live, there's a lot of new apartment blocks in the centre of town and so on.
Yeah.
So if you like a supermarket has or a piece of land has been flattened, we would be involved in that area, or providing water to a new supermarket facility. But that's the part we get involved in terms of town planning.
Thank you very much, Teresa. Very helpful. I hope that's answered your question, Julia.
Brilliant. And then I think there's just one last one from Mohammed.
Yeah, it's an application form, Mohammed, rather than you don't need a personal statement. As I said, there's kind of three main parts of the application form. One is some information about you, education. Do you meet the eligibility of the program that you're applying for? We obviously need to know your name, your personal details. But then also it's those just two questions. It's kind of, well, what's the driver for applying and pursuing Severn Trent? But also then, why are you pursuing the program? So we don't need a CV or a covering letter. It's that application, and we're not rejecting out at that stage either. So you can complete that, and then you'll be invited to the online assessments, where we hope you'll meet the threshold to come through to the final stages.
Excellent. I think that's about it, guys. I mean, have you got any sort of last comments you'd like to leave with the guys here?
No, I would sort of just encourage people to plan. March the 21st is when we close our applications. Don't leave it until then. Sort of plan your diaries based on, admittedly, the time that you've got and study. You've got half term coming up next week, but you could be kind of doing coursework. So just plan your time so that it allows you not to rush. You can register your application, go through those eligibility questions really quickly, and then you might just want to take a little bit more time in terms of completing the remainder of that form. Do your research on the website, look at the videos, follow us on social as well, and then go through that online assessments. It's time recorded, it's not time limited. So by that, the clock goes up and we get a truer understanding of your abilities within the areas, but your sort of results are just compared to individuals that have completed those exercises internally. So we use our own thresholds. But I would say that by planning, you can all do some amazing things. It's where we rush into things and we don't prepare that often the outcome isn't the one that we want. So my advice is just to use National Apprenticeship Week to do your research, whatever it is that you sort of are thinking of doing, and then work plan your time out to sort of pursue the options that you would like to take that step further. That's what I would say, Simon. Don't know if anybody else has got any comments.
I was just going to say, if I may, just again to harp on about my experiences, I never had these opportunities when I was younger to talk directly to an organisation who was going to help you in an application for an apprentice role. But not just that, but these are skills for applying for interviews in the future. And like I said, is don't rule anything out. Just give it a go and see how far it takes you. See what you can learn from this.
What I was going to say, actually, just very quickly for the 550 plus people that's still online with us, we're holding a open morning on Saturday the 20th of February. It's only for 2 hours. And I've got to be honest, it might sort of reduce a little bit more. It's that, we appreciate that online remote learning, it is very, very different to you coming into the office and finding out more that way. But we will be providing advice, and you will get to sort of have sort of a lengthier session with somebody like Hannah and the team. There'll be some videos that are shared that really allow you to understand more about the kind of culture that we have at Severn Trent. The details of that are now on the website. It went live this afternoon, and it is literally a 1-minute job to try and get the registration form. Are we going to be sharing this recording with everybody, Simon, that's been on?
Yeah, I was just going to say that the session's, it's been recorded.
Okay, lovely. So maybe we could, if I send you a link of where that page is, that we could sort of share that as well.
Yeah, absolutely so. Yeah,
perfect. Let's do that then. Let's do that. But there are ways in which you can find out more. But well done to you all for sort of taking that step today and joining us, because it's doing things like what you are doing that is going to result in a positive outcome.
Thanks, Darren. Thanks, everyone. Great session, and like we said before, the session is recorded. We'll get it emailed out to everyone. If you don't get the email for whatever reason, it'll also be put up onto the careermap.co.uk website under the Career Map Live section in the next day or two. So you can come back and refer to that anytime you want. And just to say, we've got a ton more live events coming over the next few days for National Apprenticeship Week. So check out nationalapprenticeshipweek.co.uk and register for some more of the employer webinars there. It'd be great to see you again. And just the final word, just to say thank you for coming today. Hope you enjoyed it, and stay safe, everyone. We'll sign off now. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Simon. Thank you, everybody, and all the very best for the future.
Thanks, guys.